So I just want to give some pointers on the coolant temperature sensor in Mk4s. Here you have your flange for your preheater glow plug assembly, and on the back side of this flange, it's on the back side of your vacuum pump here, down below it. You can feel for the wires, get this out of the way, and you can feel for the wires and feel for it, but get a flashlight, look down in there. There's kind of a U-shaped clip, plastic clip. Plastic, by the way, it breaks real easy. You take a screwdriver, and what I did, I don't know if the camera can see it, but you can kind of see it. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Right down in here. So if you get a screwdriver small one, you get down there and you can pop that clip up a little bit, or just come on the back side, right? Come on the back side and lift up that clip. I highly recommend draining your antifreeze, right? So you don't do a quick swap, because if you do a quick swap, you're probably going to bite your and gouge out your O-ring. Okay, drain your antifreeze. Drain your antifreeze. Pull your electrical connector off without breaking it, obviously. Pull up on that U-shaped clip, right? Plastic clip. It slides up. Be careful with it, and then you should be able to pop out your coolant temperature sensor. Now when you put it back in, you want to have you see this little locking tab here, that's for the plug. You want that facing up. So that's going to be facing up, so it's a little easier to release that locking connection there when you have these facing up. What I did on mine, because I had installed one and I kind of nicked the seal, and this one was put in May and started leaking. Of course, that's from overheating on the back side of the engine because of that stupid hood bonnet. If you watch my other videos, I explain that. So pretty much ruined everything in the back side of the motor, because the hood bonnet was touching the valve cover and is letting any air in the back side of the engine to breathe and cool down. So that seal, that's a 2-month-old seal, and it's way harder than the new one, right? So I just put the whole thing in. But what I did on mine to facilitate, because I tore the new seal putting it in, the inside of this flange is not plastic. Of course, it's aluminum. It's got sharp edges on it. If you don't seat these inside there right, you're going to wind up tearing part of your seal if you're not careful. And no, lubricating it with antifreeze doesn't make it any less likely to tear, because that's what I did with mine, and it tore. And I'm pretty, careful putting these in. So what I did with mine, I took the seal off. I took some high temp silicone and siliconed it to the body, right? And then put a little bead of silicone all the way around the seal, high temp. I used the copper stuff. I'm assuming the copper's not going to interfere with anything in the cooling system. It shouldn't, because this is G12. And then slid that in, and then put your clip back in, and then hooked it back up and let that cure, and then fill it up and with G12, and you should be good. So these have leaked on people. And they don't leak, obviously this is a solid piece here. So I've heard of these leaking and tracing up through the electrical wires and getting all the way up into the ECU, right? Now, looking at this, that's not going to happen through here. It's not going to happen inside the engine, right? It's not leaking through this solid piece of metal in through the plug. What's going on is the stupid seal leaks, and then antifreeze starts running through, because this is facing this way and the air is blowing through. Antifreeze will run down, get in the connector, and then run up the electrical. And I actually know a mechanic that's seen it. So it's not a problem with the plug leaking through the plug, it's a problem with the seal leaking. So how do you resolve that? In my opinion, put some high temp silicone on this, put it in there, and that seal is going to be protected. And it's going to seal a lot better, because the only thing holding this together is a crappy little plastic clip, right? And you know how much I love these little clip connectors on these Volkswagens. Not really. So just a little advice for some people doing these coolant temp sensors. Drain your antifreeze. Make sure you get the Luxembourg OEM coolant temp sensor with the OEM seal. I silicone mine. Remove the O-ring, put a little silicone on there, put this back down. This is 2 months old, by the way. Look at this, right? And then sealed it up, so I ain't going to have any leaking between the housing, the seal, and the body of this sensor, right? It's not going to happen. Do yourself a favor, go down to Volkswagen and buy some extra O-rings, just in case you wind up nicking one. So you put it in and you seat it right. Now here's another thing, when you put that clip on, you got to push the sensor in, you got to push the clip down. If the clip doesn't snap into place, you don't have it in right. Don't force it. You know what I mean? You should just slide the sensor in, slide the clip down, and you hear it click. If it clicks, and then you pull out on the sensor and the sensor doesn't pull out, you got it right. If it doesn't click, I'm telling you from doing this a lot of times, if it doesn't click, that clip, you got something wrong. So hopefully that helps some people out. Have a good night.